I would ask Ron Chu, Secretary, to present the proof of mailing of the annual meeting notice and determination of a quorum.
Excuse me. Good evening, everyone. Notice is hereby given that the annual meeting of the members of Henry County REMC will be held at the First Baptist Church located at 709 South Memorial Drive, Newcastle, Indiana, on April 14, 2016 at 5:30 p.m. Results of the 2016 director election for Districts 2, 5, 8, and 10 will be announced. Cooperative reports will be given, and any other business proper to be brought before the meeting will be conducted. Our bylaws require that 2% of our membership be present to establish a quorum and to enable us to conduct business. Mr. Vice Chairman, I apologize, a quorum is present.
The minutes of the 2015 annual meeting were made available here this evening. I trust that you have all had a chance to read them. If there are no corrections, I will entertain a motion that the reading of the minutes be suspended and the minutes be approved. Is there a second? Thank you. Is there any discussion? All in favor say aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion passed. At this time, I would ask Shane Young, Treasurer, to please come forward to present the Treasurer's report.
Okay, for the Treasurer's report, total revenue for 2015, $21,251,513. Total revenue for 2014 is $21,049,047. Total expenses for 2015 is $20,379,206. Total expenses for 2014 is $20,420,293. Utility plant and service for 2015 is $20,721,100. Utility plant and service for 2014 is $18,222,582. Chief Executive Officer Shannon Tom will now make some introductions and recognize our employees and special guests. Thank you.
Thank you, and good evening. I've got a list of special guests here tonight. I'm going to try and get through them, and I hope I'm not going to miss anybody. Mayor Greg York is here somewhere. I saw him earlier. Thanks for coming, Greg. A whole group from Hoosier Energy. There's a bunch of them here. I'm going to go down through them. John Sisney, renewable project developer. Mike Owens from Key Accounts. Harold Gutzweiler is part of the Economic Development Group. Eric Neely is running around here with a camera somewhere. And Bob Richhart, HR department, is also here, as well as Susie Smith. And if I missed anybody, I'm sorry. Thank you for being here, guys. From the IEC, Indiana Electric Cooperative, Scott Bowers is here in the Government Relations Department. Dan Hoke is here from the Regulatory Compliance Department. And I feel like I'm missing somebody. We also have a representative here from Energy Light, Doreen Bonesteel. And from county government, we have, let's see if I've got everybody here. I saw some of these people, and I'm not sure if they're still here or not, but we're going to go with this. Mike Thalls on county council, Kim Cronk, a county commissioner, Harold Griffin from county council, Clay Morgan from county council, and Nate Lamar from county council. Thank you guys for being here. Also, Rachel White is here from the Planning and Zoning Commission. Thank you, Rachel. And I saw just a few moments ago, Mary Jo Thomas from Whitewater Valley REMC has joined us for this evening. Thank you all for coming. I'd like to introduce We're gonna introduce the guys behind me in a minute, but there's some folks over here to my left that really need to be introduced before they do. Spouses of your board of directors are sitting in the second row over here. Thank you for joining us tonight, ladies. And my wife, holding my 3-week-old granddaughter, sitting right behind them. Thank you for being here, dear. Employees of the REMC are behind them, and there's another group in between there. We'll talk about them in a minute. Would the employees stand up? These are the guys in the blue shirts you saw running around. These are guys that made this event happen tonight. I see at least one wandering in from the back there. These are also the folks that answer your phone calls, make sure the bills get paid, get the lights back on, get everything what needs to be taken care of. These are the hardworking employees that I always say make me look good, which really means they've got a pretty tough job. Thank you so much, guys. I appreciate all of you. We also have some retirees here tonight. It's hard for me to see everybody. If you're a retiree from the REMC, why don't you please stand up? We've got a few. I see Don in the back. I can see waving. Who's waving at me? JB. That's JB Yergin. Thank you for coming tonight, guys. I'm sure I've missed somebody. I know we have at least one past director. Ben French is here with us tonight. I see him in the back there. Thank you for coming, Ben. Do we have any other retired directors or past directors with us tonight? Okay. Well, thank you, everybody, for coming. We have a special guest with us here tonight. Many of you saw today's paper pictures of the Boar's Head ribbon-cutting ceremony. 18 months ago, they started out with a groundbreaking ceremony, and they officially made the opening of their facility or I guess it was 2 days ago, wasn't it? So please welcome Kevin Horner from Boar's Head.
Thank you, Shannon, and thank you, everybody, for inviting me here tonight. I'm really excited just to become a part of this community. And really, tonight, I just really want to share a few things about who Boar's Head is, what we do, and the products that we manufacture. But before that, you know, a lot of people have asked, well, Boar's Head, how did you end up here in Newcastle? And for those of you that don't know, Boar's Head is we started off as a one-man band 110 years ago, and we're now a company of 3,000. We have 5 manufacturing plants, 2 distribution centers, and we have a sister company with a fairly significant agricultural presence here in Indiana, Farbest Foods, which is down in the Washington area, Vincennes area, Jasper County. And but Indiana is really the first, Boar's Head's move to Indiana is our first presence here in this state, beyond Farbest Foods. Our roots are in Brooklyn and started in 1905, but we're now headquartered in Sarasota, Florida. But anyhow, when the company was in need of an additional manufacturing plant, we had the obvious option to go a numerous number of directions, whether it be to the southwest or somewhere west of the Mississippi where our business was growing. And what really kind of brought us to this region in the first place was the fact that our national distribution center is in Columbus, Ohio. And the majority of our raw materials, which is turkey-based, at least for what we're going to manufacture here in Newcastle, is raised and grown in southwest Indiana. So we wanted to be somewhere on the I-70 corridor between Terre Haute and Columbus. And so that really kind of got us into the search to say, well, where can we be along that I-70 corridor? And we started off by looking at 11 towns And the only criteria beyond I-70 corridor was to be, within a stone's throw to exit and entrance to the interstate. And so we embarked literally 2 years ago, and we went through, as I said, 11 communities really kind of solicited our potential coming to their town. And in the end, we narrowed it down to 3, and of course, Newcastle being one of those 3. And there was a tremendous number of reasons why we ultimately settled on Newcastle, but a lot of it had to do with the people that we interacted with here in the community. And two of significance, Mayor Greg York, Corey Murphy, we've given them some attention and recognition, but I also do really want to make sure you as cooperative members know that a big part of that also was Shannon Tom. Shannon really helped navigate and continues to help us navigate through what it means to be a consumer of such a large quantity of energy that it takes to run this particular plant that we're building and near ready to operate here in Newcastle. So Shannon, thank you very much. You've just been a great support to me and to the company. And the reason why power is so significant to us, it's not just power to turn on our lights. Our building, which is 151,000 square feet, and we have built it to expand upon in future years. But of that 151,000 square feet, 80,000 of that square footage is under refrigeration. So it really is it's a huge refrigerator. And the biggest significant component of our power usage is the industrial ammonia compressors that drive that refrigeration system. And as you can imagine, if you've ever lived in some other power supply community, not this one, but where you might have lost power and you lose your refrigerator, it's a big deal. Your food goes bad in a hurry, and you're out that money spent. So for our facility, when we have 80,000 square foot of refrigerated space that's containing hundreds of thousands of pounds of meat, you really don't want to lose power. So we really gained a lot of trust in what the REMC was able to indicate in terms of reliability here in this community, and together with Hoosier Energy, we really feel like this has been a great choice from that perspective. So again, thanks to Hoosier and to REMC for that. So what I wanted to try to do, I don't want this to come across as self-promotion, but I think a lot of people have asked, well, who's Boar's Head? What do you do? And we have a video. Ken, I'd like to fire up the video first as opposed to the PowerPoint. And the video really gives a little bit of a glimpse into who Boar's Head is as a company, a little bit about our past, a little bit about our business model today, and certainly there are some references to the products that we make, but my intention here isn't really to tell you, hey, you need to go buy some Boar's Head product tomorrow because I just showed you this video. I really want you to try to get an understanding of who we are now that we are here in the community, and we want to continue to be a part of it. So, Ken, why don't we fire up that video and we'll take a look.
Boar's Head brand was founded in 1905 when the world was a very different place. People took real pride in what they made. Words like mass production didn't yet exist. But our founder, Frank Brunkhorst, began to sense that this pride in quality was disappearing from the delicatessen business. He saw a need to return to something better. He determined that Boar's Head would produce the finest deli products possible for the mom-and-pop delicatessens all over New York. His every decision was guided by a simple principle. Boar's Head would offer its customers products of unquestionable quality and uncompromising standards, nothing less. While Frank Brunkhorst watched his competitors cut corners to save money and improve their profits, he believed that compromise was for others, not for the Boar's Head brand. To this day, Boar's Head never cuts corners. We use only the finest cuts of meat, hand-trimmed, handcrafted the old-fashioned way. Chef-inspired recipes seasoned with real spices are used to create the full line of Boar's Head brand products. From pork and beef to turkey, chicken, dry-cured meats, and a whole line of world-class cheeses. We're proud to say that none of our deli meats, cheeses, and condiments contain gluten, artificial colors or flavors, added MSG, fillers or byproducts, or trans fat. We insist on products made with exceptional care and attention to quality. While Boar's Head has become synonymous with the highest standards of product quality, it has also become famous for an unparalleled level of service. Each day, the Boar's Head brand distributors serve a network of thousands of independent stores, supermarkets, and food service establishments to ensure a level of freshness unmatched in the industry. Our distributors are freshness and food safety fanatics who do more than simply deliver products. They deliver training and expertise to each retailer and its employees to make sure the consumers who demand Boar's Head experience the highest level of satisfaction each and every time. Boar's Head can proudly say that no one else in the industry comes close to creating this level of customer service. Our devoted employees and distributors work tirelessly to uphold the uncompromising standards of the Boar's Head brand, in the quality of the products produced every day, in the way it's delivered, in the way it is served, the way Frank Brunkhorst did decades ago. Reputations aren't built overnight. They're built one day at a time, one customer at a time, one sandwich at a time. And we're proud to say the Boar's Head reputation is without equal in the delicatessen business. We believe there's a simple reason for this. In a world all too ready to sacrifice quality in the name of profit, we say today, compromise elsewhere.
All right, well, thank
Boar's
you.
Head brand was founded in 1905 when
Run it again. No. Yeah, so again, I really wanted to share that with you, more so you can get a little bit of an understanding of what we're all about, and if it came across as an advertisement, I apologize for that. That wasn't the intent. But anyway, also, could you dim the lights just a hair for me? I also just have a PowerPoint. It's a little bit, I've got some slides, a little bit more on the history. And really, again, I just want to share that with you so that you can continue to gain a little bit better understanding of who we are. But the one thing that is, I've been with Boar's Head since 1999. It's just a great company to work for. I was previously at our Holland, Michigan plant, and Boar's Head, in all the communities that have a presence, we try to be a very active partner in the development of the community and helping to fund the things that we can that are valuable to making a community a home and improve the quality of life. And so hopefully you'll find that is true of Boar's Head in the coming years and decades as we continue to reside and grow here. But Ken, can you go ahead and fire up the PowerPoint? Yeah, thank you. You know, you would have thought that I'd be smart enough to bring notes so I could read the print that you're able to read up here on the screen. But again, as mentioned, Boar's Head was founded in 1905. It was Franz Brunkhorst. It indicates Frank Brunkhorst, but Franz was a young immigrant from Germany, had come over in the early 1900s and started this one-person business in 1905. He had bought he bought a horse-drawn cart and loaded it with blocks of ice and became a distributor of ham. And so what he tried to do was, over the years, improve that quality of ham such that he could be a more premium supplier to consumers within the Brooklyn area. And so a period of time went on, and in the early 1930s, he went to his supplier of the ham. He didn't manufacture the ham at that time, and he asked the supplier to take it up a notch, to improve that ham, to elevate it such that there was no other equal. And the supplier of that ham basically said no, he wasn't interested. The costs were too dear to try to produce the type of ham that Mr. Brunkhorst wanted. So He went into the manufacturing business together with two other partners in the 1930s, and that's what really started what is Boar's Head today. It went from a one-man horse-drawn carriage to a three-person company that was actually manufacturing the premium ham themselves. Again, this was in Brooklyn. So the next big milestone was in the 1960s. Now in the third generation, the family decided to start manufacturing roast beef. So this took the product line from beyond just a ham manufacturer to also doing other protein species such as roast beef. And in the 70s, the thing where it says Boar's Head became federally inspected, what that means is if you intend to manufacture meat and ship that across state lines, you have to have that USDA stamp of inspection on your packaging. So in order to gain that, your facilities must be federally inspected. And so that opened up the floodgates for the growth of Boar's Head. Going into the 80s, national distribution went beyond just the New York metro area, such that the product was beginning to be sold down in Florida. And it had such a following in New York area and up in the Northeast that it was natural that those that traveled down to Florida from the Northeast and or retired there had a demand for the Boar's Head product that they had grown to know and love. And so Florida was really the big expansion point in the 80s for the growth of the Boar's Head brand. And so as a result, in the mid-80s, the Brooklyn facility was out of capacity. It could not manufacture the demand for the product. So Boar's Head opened its first manufacturing plant outside of Brooklyn, New York, and that was in Jarrett, Virginia. And that plant, of course, is operating still today. And so without boring you through the rest of the details with our additional expansions, if you can drop back just one more, sorry. So there was other elements to our growth up to 2016, but of course the milestone in 2016 is the launch of our plant right here in Newcastle. And but Ken, go ahead and drop to that next slide. Thank you. So I do want to, what this slide is intended to show you is the presence and the geographical scope of our manufacturing and distribution facilities. The red dots are our manufacturing plants. You can see we have two in Virginia that are relatively close to each other. One in Forest City, Arkansas, which is right across the border from Memphis, Tennessee. We have one up in Michigan. And of course now we have this fifth one here in Newcastle. And the two blue dots in southwest Indiana are our Far Best Foods sister company. They're a fully integrated turkey manufacturing company. And then the green dot in Ohio, Columbus, Ohio, that's our national distribution center. You might notice too, there's two green dots up in the New Jersey and New York area, and that's our distribution facilities for the Northeast. To this day, as much product as we make and distribute nationally, roughly 35% of our product is still sold and consumed in the metro New York area, the 5 boroughs. So a huge, huge following in New York. Okay, next slide. So this photo was taken from, let's see, the northwest, looking down over Route 3 at County Road 400. So that little strip in the middle of that open ground is the kind of the remaining strip of corn that was being taken down as we commenced this project back in September and October of 2014. So that's what the ground had looked like at that time. And if we can go to the next slide, it's the same perspective, unfortunately a different time of year, so things aren't green. But there's a building that is a bit far away, I realize, from this shot. But what I wanted to show you is what was a cornfield there, and now is this building. There's been a lot that's gone into it, And if you can go one more slide, we'll show the front. This is the front entry where we just really had our ribbon cutting, as Shannon mentioned, on Tuesday, and it was just a huge event for us, and there was a lot of support from the community. So we're just, again, really proud to be here. So let's see, we got one more slide. Nope, that's the conclusion. And so I'll be hanging around and obviously listening to the balance of the meeting, but if anyone has any questions for me outside in the reception area when we're done, I'd be happy to answer what I can. But thank you very much for having me here tonight, and we look forward with our continued stay here in Newcastle.
Thank you, Kevin. We are thrilled to have Boar's Head here in town, and as our one of our newest and definitely the largest member of Henry County REMC. When I was making introductions, I might have missed a few, and I wanted to at least mention a couple of more. One of them is you heard me introduce representatives from the county and thanking them for being here, and you also heard me introduce a past director, but sitting next to him is also a county representative. County Auditor Pat French is here with us tonight. Thank you for coming, Pat. And you heard me mention the employees and what a great job they do, but I would be amiss if I did not say thank you and show appreciation for the spouses and families of our employees. They sacrifice a lot so that these guys can take care of what needs to be taken care of. So thank you to the spouses and families of all the employees. And I told you I'd get to the group in the middle here. We've got a few of them here with it, and I will let the chairman of this committee do some introductions. This is the Operation Roundup Committee, and leading that committee is Chairman Becky McGrady. If you'd come on up, please.
Good evening. I am the chairperson for the Henry County REMC Operation Roundup. And what we do, we round up your bills to the next nearest dollar. So in doing that, you're thinking, oh my goodness, they're taking my money and where's it going? You will only be spending less than $12 a year, and these pennies have added up to a tremendous amount of money. Since our inception in 2013, the total current collections are $108,930. The total current donations are $69,766. How this money is used is it's organizations that apply for grants. And they go through a diligent process of filling out a lengthy questionnaire. I think you can see on the board some of the donations that we have given out. And my committee, which is a wonderful group of people, are incredibly diligent and take this very seriously as to how your funds are spent. So I'm very happy to say that each region of our district has been given funds. Fayette Central Elementary School, Whitewater Valley Art Association, the 4-H livestock, the 4-H fairs in Henry, Madison, Fayette, and Delaware. So any member, also, if you would not like to participate, which we hope that is not the case, all you need to do is call the office, and they will be happy to change that on your next billing. I am remiss in not introducing the board members that are here. And could I have you ladies stand, please? Barbara Cox and Janet Sparks. Scott Lightfoot and James Faddock are not able to be here this evening, but we want you to know that we are taking care of your pennies faithfully, but what a few pennies are to each one of us grows into a tremendous fund that has helped a tremendous amount of organizations in our district. Thank you.
Thank you, Becky. As members of the cooperative, you guys have elected 12 directors to represent you on the board of Henry County REMC. If the directors will stand and remain standing until all are introduced, and please hold your applause. District 1, Vice Chairman Brian Becker. District 2, Don Shaw. District 3, Gerald Shelton. District 4, Don Cross. District 5, Wayne Jester, our chairman, is not with us here this evening. District 6 is Ron Thompson. Ron Thompson also has some issues this evening and is not able to be with us. District 7, Ron Chu, our secretary. District 8, Randy Malloyd. District 9, Don Sloan. District 10, Shane Young, our treasurer. District 11, Larry Brayton. District 12, Wayne Jackson. And we always have to remember our company attorney, Martin Shields. Thank you, gentlemen. At this time, I would like to recognize 5 employees for their continued service to Henry County REMC. These individuals have provided leadership, direction, hard work, dedication, and each of them are invaluable pieces of the machine that makes the REMC work. If I could have you come up and join me as I call your name, I'd appreciate it. First is Phil Moore. Phil is our line superintendent, and Phil has been with us, the Henry County REMC 30 years this year. Second is lineman Chad Hinesley. Chad has been with the cooperative for 20 years. Third, lineman Bruce Berg. Bruce has been with us for 10 years. Yeah, I'd probably be remiss if I didn't mention that Bruce is the lineman that took a trip to Guatemala and helped bring the cooperative way to many of the folks in Guatemala that had never even seen lights come on before. So thank you for your participation with that, Bruce. Next is lineman apprentice Wes Jones. Wes has also been with us 10 years. Next is our manager of marketing and member services. She's the one that's been running around here all day like a chicken with her head cut off trying to make this. I shouldn't say that. She's doing a great job. She's not running around like that. I was, but she wasn't. She's taking care of things. Manager of marketing and member services, Lara Sullivan, also 10 years. And also with 10 years of service is our manager of customer service and billing, Melissa True. Thank you very much, guys. We appreciate all of your hard work and dedication. And Phil, if you could stay up here with me, I'd appreciate it. Tonight we're gonna, I get touched up just thinking about this, but here we go. We're gonna give a special award. The special award is a memorial award for a lineman that had 10 years of service with us. How many years of service did he have? Do you know, Phil? It's more than 10, 15, 17. Sorry, I'm drawing a blank, guys. Richard Bromagem. He was a great guy. He came into my office probably the second day that I was on the job and says, "We got a problem." I'm thinking, "Oh boy, I just got here and this is gonna start now." He says, our retirement age is too old. We can't have 65-year-old linemen. We need to have a retirement age of about 50 or 55. And keeping in mind that he was coming up on 50. And he was a great guy, a lot of dedication. He's the guy that signed back up to go do the after-hour stuff after he didn't have to. And he took care of a lot of us. He was an inspiration in the office, talking to everybody. You guys, we miss him a lot, don't we? So Richard passed away unexpectedly last year. I didn't think this was going to be this difficult. Where's Sue? Sue is with us tonight. Thank you for coming. Okay, here's where I pull it together, right? In honor of Richard, we've created an annual memorial award. And first one is 2016 recipient is lineman apprentice Tyler Powell. Please come up. Okay. Got myself together, I hope, and we're going to move on. If Becky could please join me back up on stage, we're going to move to scholarships. Henry County REMC awards now 6 $1,000 scholarships each year to the children members who are graduating seniors. We are proud to have those winners with us here tonight. They go through a rigorous process of application and interview, and Becky is going to help me hand things out. So those 6 winners, I'm not sure if they're all with us here tonight, but we got some things for them. So the first scholarship winner is Adriana Moore of Knightstown Community High School. Second is Lily Smith of Blue River Valley Junior and Senior High School. And Lacey Thomas of Knightstown Community High School. Baze Conway of Newcastle High School. Trevor Snavely of Blue River High School. And Christopher Wantz of Newcastle High School. And come back up and give the chairman's report, which will now be the vice chairman's report, Brian Becker.
It's great to see such a nice turnout tonight for the 79th annual meeting. This past year has brought many challenges and exciting new moves for the staff and directors of Henry County REMC. As we reported last year, we're in the process of building a new headquarters. We've been in the existing building for the past 70 years. It is in need of numerous repairs and updates that are cost prohibitive. And we have been contacted by a potential buyer for our existing property. We have selected a 22-acre site at 3400 State Road 3, Newcastle. Many of you may have already seen the signs between the Steve Alford Inn and Gilman's on the east side of 3 south of Newcastle in the industrial park. Runnebaum Construction out of Shelbyville was chosen as our design build contractor. The office building will be an ADA compliant facility, 15,600 square feet with 750 square feet of attic storage space. The exterior will be split faced machinery block walls, tan and a brown in color. It will have a drive-up window and a 104-seat capacity community room. Attached is a 30,500 square feet metal frame warehouse shop area with 1,850 square feet of mezzanine space. There will be a loading dock and 3-ton crane along one side of the shop for safe and efficient loading and unloading of material. The cost of the building will be roughly $4.5 million. This would calculate out 1.7 mils per kilowatt, or $2.16 per month per member on an average over 35-year term. The new facility will allow us to operate more efficiently, along with providing more safety and security to the staff and visiting members, as we set up for the next 70 years of great service. At this time, CEO Shannon Tom will give the management report.
Thank you. I'd like to talk to you a little bit about fossil fuels and our power supply. Power supply is, of course, fossil fuels, renewables. These products come to us as members of Hoosier Energy. So generation of electricity continues to have its challenges. You guys have heard me talk about it before. regulation and coal prices, natural gas prices, and the introduction of renewable energy sources. So I will tell you that Hoosier Energy has built 4 of the 10 solar farms that they are planning to build, and the others are under development or in construction now. And I've got a quick video here for you guys to see as member owners of REMC and Hoosier Energy. So please launch the video.
As a member of Henry County REMC, I know my cooperative doesn't simply supply my power. They're a part of my community, and the people who work here are my neighbors and friends. Their concerns are my concerns, and they work hard every day to keep my power on, keep electric bills low, and make our community a better place to live. Belonging to an electric co-op gives me a voice, and Henry County REMC amplifies that voice as they work to improve the quality of life for everyone they serve, even as the electric industry faces uncertainties about new regulations and environmental requirements. The Environmental Protection Agency, or EPA, published the Clean Power Plan in October of 2015. The rule requires a 39% reduction in carbon emissions for Indiana and 42% for Illinois from 2005 levels, and requires that the reduction target be met by 2030. Your cooperative believes this rule is illegal, that EPA has exceeded its authority under the Clean Air Act, and that EPA failed to take into account the cost burdens and lack of technology needed to comply with the rule when they issued it. As the most manufacturing-intensive state in the U.S., with more than 80% of its electricity produced by coal, and with 28,000 Hoosiers employed in the coal industry, Indiana will be gravely impacted. That's why My Electric Co-op, along with their energy provider, joined with the National Organization for Rural Cooperatives and the state of Indiana to file legal challenges to EPA's rule and its unachievable timeline. The good news is the Supreme Court shares our concerns and stayed the rule preventing electric co-ops from being forced to begin making costly and irreversible investments until the rule's legality is determined. Our cooperative's power is generated by Hoosier Energy, which is also a cooperative. Hoosier Energy was formed in 1949 to supply electric distribution systems with a dependable, economical source of power. Today, Hoosier Energy meets the electricity needs of 18 distribution co-ops in central and southern Indiana and southeastern Illinois. The clean, reliable electricity Hoosier Energy provides is something we all depend on and expect at the flip of a switch. Hoosier Energy recognizes that each form of power generation has pros and cons. That's why they support an all-of-the-above strategy that includes coal, natural gas, and renewable energy sources to provide the best balance between reliability, affordability, and environmental concerns. In addition to the 1,070 megawatt Merrim generating station and more than 1,000 megawatt output from 3 natural gas stations, the Hoosier Energy Board adopted a voluntary standard calling for 10% of the energy supplied to members by 2025 to come from renewable sources. Those resources include energy produced from methane at landfills, from hydro sources, from wind turbines, and most recently from 10 1-megawatt solar arrays located in communities served by Hoosier Energy members. Each of the 10 1-megawatt installation sites will produce approximately 2 million kilowatt hours per year, enough to supply power to 150 homes annually. The size of each solar farm is approximately 10 acres, or the equivalent of 9 football fields, and the solar arrays on each farm use a solar tracking system, which follows the sun across the sky to maximize production. This is accomplished by more than 4,000 panels. Henry County REMC is a not-for-profit distribution cooperative owned and controlled by its members. Like me, you're a part of a cooperative network that supplies electricity to your neighbors' farms, homes, and industries across southern Indiana and southeast Illinois. Your bill shows your electricity rate. There are significant challenges in keeping that rate low. In fact, after spending $562 million since 2002 on environmental compliance and reducing air emissions by 91%, Hoosier Energy was forced to retire the Frank E. Ratz generating station in 2015, and long before the end of its useful life. Now Hoosier Energy and its members have $86 million in stranded costs for an asset that can no longer be used. Our generation and transmission supplier is doing everything it can to manage costs, but regulations require significant investments. And while Hoosier Energy and your cooperative are looking out for my bottom line, these issues increase the cost of the energy we use every day. But one of the values of co-op membership is that we are not for profit. Our energy provider is here to provide power at the lowest cost to co-op members, not to make a profit for shareholders. Hoosier Energy is also our energy partner, helping us take steps at our homes, farms, and businesses to use electricity more efficiently. Your cooperative offers a roster of energy-saving incentives to help lower energy bills, ranging from efficient heating and cooling equipment rebates to discounts on energy-efficient light bulbs. Visit teamuptosave.com to see the current lineup of savings opportunities available at your local cooperative. The focus of cooperatives is always local. As a member, I'm proud to be part of a group committed to enhancing the quality of my life in my community. I'm grateful every day that my cooperative provides our community with safe, reliable electricity. As a member owner, you're part of that commitment too. Working together, we're making a difference for ourselves, our families, and our community.
Thank you to the folks at Hoosier Energy that helped produce that and put it together. As you can see, the forces on rates are always increasing up. We're doing a lot of things to try and accommodate the forces and trying to fight hard to keep these rates in control. Most of you realize and understand and know that a rate change was put in place last year. A cost of service study began in 2014 and completed in mid-2015. Rates were updated at the August board meeting with an implementation of November 1. Some of the results of that cost of service study included that we had been carrying roughly 1.2 cents per kilowatt hour on average over the review period of the cost of service. We were under collecting on demand charges significantly, noting specifically that we had rates that were selling 1 kW of demand for less than half of what we had to pay Hoosier Energy for it. There was very little demand costs included in the residential rates. There is a demand component to the residential rates, but you pay for it by the kilowatt hour instead of by the kW demand. And the other thing that was identified was we were not penalizing or not making those members that contributed with a poor power factor, which is not using energy efficiently, we weren't making them pay for the penalties that we would see as well. So those are some changes that we needed to include in the new rates. The last item that was found as a result of the cost of service study was that our security lights, sometimes called night lights, had a large maintenance cost and actually carried a negative return on investment. We spent more money than we were even collecting to have those lights. So if we could jump to the next slide there, that gives you an idea of what electricity rates are for a residential member around the country, a residential consumer around the country. The U.S. average is 12.1 cents. Here in Indiana, it's 11 cents. Part of that is a result of the low cost of coal-fired generation, but we just saw that continues to put pressure upward. The board made the decision to allocate the costs appropriately and no longer add the uncollected energy costs into the tracker component, which we had been doing. We wanted to adequately collect for the cost of demand, and we also wanted to minimize the subsidizing between rate classes and also between members within the same rate class. Essentially, we wanted every member, every meter, to be paying for its fair share of the cost of electricity. What that resulted in was a small increase in the security light rates, and we also decided to move from the old incandescent lights that were giving us such a fit with maintenance to a LED light that has lower consumption and hopefully a life of 10 years that we're getting from the manufacturer, 10 years. So what does this mean? On average, residential members saw a small increase. You guys saw your cost per kilowatt hour go up to 10.25 cents. With the 8.29 you were paying plus the 1.2 we were carrying, that is a very small increase. Members with significant demands and lots of energy consumption saw a decrease in their bill because we shifted the dollar component out of the kilowatt hour energy charge into the demand component the way we pay for it to Hoosier Energy. Members that had significant demands and had very little energy usage saw an increase because we moved that component into the demand charge so they would pay for it as they used it. And also the members with poor power factor would either have to pay the penalty or install equipment to help utilize the energy better. We call that power factor correction. And we've worked with a couple of members, large members, to help do that. Those two members that we've been helping to do that are Blue River Schools and Tri-High. Those guys are doing a great job to try and help correct some of the poor power factor that they have had. Next, I'd like to mention patronage. Patronage is something that you guys may or may not be familiar with. Can we back up a slide? Yeah, let's leave it there for a minute. How patronage works, capital credits and patronage are the same thing. Your co-op tracks how much electricity you buy and how much money you pay for it throughout the year. At the end of the year, we calculate all the financial obligations that we have, and whatever margins are left are then allocated to every member of the cooperative based on how much they contributed to those margins. So a percentage is created based on what the total margins are and how much you helped create that by your usage, and those dollars are allocated to your patronage account. Hoosier Energy also provides us with patronage that we allocate to every member's account, and in May you'll get a billing statement that will tell you how much of Henry County REMC you own and how much of Hoosier Energy you own. And when the co-op's financial conditions permit, the board of directors will allocate or will authorize the retirement of these dollars, which is the returning of these dollars to you. And when that happens, the co-op will notify you and you'll receive these capital credits in the form of retirements. If we could jump to the next slide. I kind of covered the allocations there a little bit, but there's two ways that retirements generally happen, and that is with estates. If someone passes away that is a member, their heir has the ability to come in, fill out the paperwork, and get the dollars that had been allocated to the patronage account of that member. And then we have the option of doing a general retirement, which has not been done at Henry County REMC in a long time. And in 2016, we're going to do that. Later this year, we will be returning patronage dollars that were invested in Henry County REMC a long time ago. These are older dollars that are owed to the members from years past that must be retired before we can get anywhere near to retiring dollars of the current membership. So it's kind of a different pace. We are making a move to move the co-op in that direction. $600,000 in total will be returned to the membership this year. If I could shift to reliability, hopefully you guys have, you've all weathered some storms here lately. We've had a bunch of wind and we've had a bunch of rain, and that causes a bunch of trees in the line, and it also causes accidents in the rain. People slide off the road. It causes us a lot of difficulty. But part of what we can do to do that is invest in rebuilding some of these lines that have been out there for decades. I showed you guys last year how much we had spent over a 3-year work plan. We're working now to create a new 3-year work plan. This last year, in 2016, we're going to rebuild 12.5 miles, 12.4 miles of single phase, 10.8 miles of 3-phase, and do 2.5 miles of overhead to underground conversion. We're still going to continue to trim and spray in the right-of-way to take care of the tree issues, and we are moving forward with the technology updates that included communications, devices, meters, and load management that I described at this meeting last year. Hopefully, those things will improve reliability. We can keep the lights on, and if they do go out, get them back on quicker than we could before. Moving on to government relations. I got to be careful what I say because Scott Bowers is in the room, wherever he's at. So correct me if I'm wrong, Scott. We saw in the video that the petition to stop the Clean Power Plan was signed by the Supreme Court to stay the implementation of the Clean Power Plan. That was a 5-4 vote on February 9th. It effectively did what we were trying to do with the Ratepayer Protection Act that I talked to you guys about last year. We had a lot of involvement from a lot of legislators to work on that Ratepayer Protection Act, and also the petition that was sent. In addition, government relations has done a great job here in Indiana with, this isn't right. That's all right. We're going to make it up as we go. Sorry. Indiana is moving on and joined 8 states to halt work on the implementation of the Clean Power Plan based on the stay of the Supreme Court. It is important to note, though, that Governor Pence had made the statement that we would not develop a state implementation plan. As things move on, and it looks like we will join the administration here in Indiana to develop a state implementation plan as opposed to live with a federal plan that is handed to us. Which leads me to political action. I talked to you guys a little bit about this last year also. Many of us here on the stage and over here to my left are members of ACRE, Action Committee for Rural Electrification. COPA, Co-op Owners for Political Action, is your opportunity to join that organization and become part of the group that addresses these legislators at the State House and in D.C. Your participation matters. You guys are the ones that put these legislators in office, and the dollars that are contributed to this political action campaign reminds them of who they work for and reminds them that they need to talk to us when we come and ask. And I think they know that, but this is the mechanism that gets us there. If you have an interest in joining COPA, it's $25 a year, and we will break that out on your bill to $2.08 a month. If you would like to do that, please call in the office and they can get you taken care of. In conclusion, I'd like you to know that we're working as hard as we can. All of us behind me and to my left here are working as hard as we can to mitigate or reduce the impact of future rate increases, improve reliability. We got to keep the lights on. We want to improve efficiency. We want to do more with less. And we want to reduce the outage times and have less costly overtime. And we want to accommodate growth and prepare for the future. So the dollars that we're spending now, we hope will set us up to do a good job and keep the lights on for the next 50 years. Thank you.
At this time, if there are any questions for Shannon or myself, we'll do our best to answer them. And there's microphones at each aisle wave. Do you have any questions? At this time, if there's no questions, we'll move on. At this time, we'll have our attorney, Martin Shields, conduct the election.
Good evening. The bylaws of Henry County REMC have a process in place for the nomination of directors. An incumbent director must notify the REMC of his or her intent to be a candidate by December 28th of the previous year. All incumbent directors in districts up for election provided notice in writing that they wish to be candidates prior to December 28th. In the January newsletter and in a special mailing to the members in the 4 districts electing directors, members were informed that if they wish to become candidates, they must file a petition with the signature of 30 members from their district by February 28th. After the completion of this process and applying the applicable REMC policies regarding the election of directors, it was determined that the following individuals were those who shall stand for election. They are as follows: Don Shaw, District 2, Wayne Jester, District 5, Randy Malloyd, District 8, and Shane Young, District 10. Because all candidates are unopposed, I would accept a motion to elect all 4 candidates by acclamation. Is there a motion? Thank you. Thank you.
The record indicates that we have no unfinished business. Does anyone have any new business that may properly come before the membership? If not, at this time, Director Larry Brayton will have our prize drawings, and the winners must be present. Please stand when your name is called so our employees can find you quickly and bring you your prize.